Hi guys, welcome to this session on Microsoft Visio. In this module, I want to have a quick look at a basic electrical diagram. So I'm on the new page and you can see I've got an electrical diagram there, basic electrical. However, that would not normally be there unless you just used it. It lives in categories, so I'll click on categories, and if I come down a bit, you can see it's under engineering. So if I double click into engineering, not process diagram, and then you've got basic electrical there, so double click on that, and then you've got some options already set up. Simple diagram there, but let's just do a blank one. Now what I recommend people do is, if I just close this one down that I've already got, what I recommend people do is create your own stencil and add the common symbols from all these stencils that you might use a lot. So if you look at the moment, you've got fundamental items at the top there. In fact, there's something above that, isn't it? Quick shapes here. So that's even, these will be the ones that are used the most. You've got some of the most common things there, but then you've got fundamental items and quite a few more there, and qualifying symbols, and then down below that, semiconductors, lots of shapes, and switches and relays. So you could spend quite a lot of time looking for things in there, but the good news is, like I said, you can create your own stencil, but you can also search for things. So if I search for a diode, this just looks through all of the stencils, not just this diagram, and comes up with some diodes. Now, whichever one you want, you just pull it onto the screen. It's very small, that, so I'll just zoom this up a little bit. And then what we'll do then is, once we've got all of these, if I just double click on that, I can just type what it is, diode, and then if I search for a resistor, and there's a resistor, pull that on the screen, double click on that one, call it resistor. Obviously you've got different names and different things that you might need to put on these things, but that you can do that afterwards. If I then do battery, I want a battery, multi-cell battery, that'll do. Bring that on, double click on that, call that a 9-volt battery, in fact not 9, 12-volt battery. And then I want an LED light, so you type LED, get some different options. I'll have this one, yeah, I love that one, and I'll just double click on that, call it LED, like so. And where else do I want? I want a transistor, so transistor, and then you've got lots of different types of transistor. I'll go for that one, double click on that, okay, it's not letting me double click on it, that's unusual. Let's try typing anyhow. Yeah, it's let me do it now. Transistor type 1. Now there's your diagram. Say that's all you want, and you want maybe a line, so I'll just get a normal line. Now there are lines in here, and to get back to these stencils you have to close this search box, close that down, and come back to your stencils. So there are lines that you can select from here, but I want to just, so there, look, you've got transmission path, a little line, direction of flow, a little line, so direction and path. You can name these whatever you want, like I've said. So what I'm going to do is going to add all of these to my own little stencil. So to create a stencil, you go more shapes, new stencil. I've already got one called electric, so I'll have to give it a different name. So I'm going to add in resistor. It comes up with master, so you need to rename it again. Resistor, and 12-volt battery. 12-volt battery. And then diode. So you're just putting these in here so you've got them again, and you can just call this stencil up anytime you want now on any diagram. So this is a diode, and then we've got a transistor and an LED light. So transistor, LED, and then we can maybe do this path as well, and direction, and then you save in it. So you save that stencil as electric 2, I have to call it electric 1, sorry, not 2, so electric 1, so I've already got one that I did earlier. So these are all my other little stencils. You can do all sorts of stencils. And if I close this stencil down, I've saved it already, so I can just close it. Now if I need this again, you just now have to go and open a stencil as opposed to create a new one. Open, and then electric 1 is there. You can just open it up again, and it should come up like so. So now you're ready to do your little diagram. So you're just dragging on these shapes, so you bring the path on. Don't want to do that actually. So this is quite an awkward little thing to work around, so let's stick it onto there. So we're going from there up to a resistor. Where's the resistor? There. That should stick onto the end of that. Get another path. Stick it on the end of there. Make it a bit longer than that. Use my little arrow key to come back and put an LED light on the end of that. So this path, I'm not liking this path. So what I'm going to do is just get a line and do it in a line. Doesn't matter. Just easier to connect up. Just the same job. Just make sure you take that off at the end. So now that should connect into that. Yep. So now I want another line coming down from there. So I'll draw another line again, coming down out of the LED, down to a transistor. So now I can bring on the transistor. Try and get that to join up. Take the line off. Okay, that'll do. And I want a line coming out the bottom of that. And then going across. And then what I need here is another line coming down. And I want another resistor. So I'm going to sit on there. To take the line off. Do that in a minute. Take the line tool off. And then the line tool can come out of that resistor, down to a diode. Right, I need to rotate these shapes. Yeah, that'll do. So I need that to be on this side, so now I need to get a line tool. Let's get this to come down. And let's rotate this one as well. Okay, it's not doing anything there, so I don't want to do that. So this line is just playing around with this line, so this is what I want to rotate. That's it. Exactly like that. So then I can then position that onto this line. And then this diode can go on the bottom of that one. Like so. And then I need to join this line across, or extend this line across. In fact, I've made a mistake there. That needs not to come there. That needs to sit over here. I need to draw two more lines. I need to draw a line coming out and across, like so, and that way, like so. And then this comes down to another resistor, and this comes down to the diode. Let's try to connect up there. Let's come down to the diode first. Down to the diode. And this one, this needs to come across. Just take the pointer tool on, drag this across a bit. And that can come down. This is wanting to make a rectangle, which I don't want it to do. In fact, I don't want that to do that either. That needs to go into another resistor. Let's just undo that and that. So it wants to come down a little bit. Then I want to copy this resistor. So just copy that and paste it there. Then move it down into alignment. And then at the bottom of that one, so the line thicknesses probably need to be adjusted actually, looking at this. That wants to come down to there, and that one wants to move across. Like so. And then this one needs to come down from the bottom of that diode into the baseline as well. So I could have brought the baseline straight across, to be honest. So I should probably take that all the way across. Well, it's going to go up to the battery. Back to the battery. Like so. So that needs to not be like that actually. Let's make this a bit longer. So it's going to line up with the line coming down from the other terminal. Like so. So that's a very simplistic diagram. Now you can change the width of these lines to match those resistors. So I don't know what size they are actually. Probably 1.5, maybe 2. Yeah, 2. So the only problem with that, then it knocks this out of sync, because the line I don't think you can adjust the line in here. Let's soon try. Oh, yes we can, that's good. So now we can put each line to 2 1/4, weight 2 1/4, so it matches the resistors. But I think the process here is to have as many of the items that you use a lot in your own little stencil, and then you can quickly drag them and create your little diagrams without having to look through hundreds and hundreds of different stencil sets. And if you are searching and you don't know what it's called, it's still a long, laborious process trying to find things through search. And trying to just create some consistency with these lines, that's all I'm doing here. Last one, I think. One more after that. So basically that's all I wanted to go through on this little exercise. Electrical diagram. I don't for 1 second want anybody to think that I'm an electrician and I know what I'm doing. So if you are an electrician and this diagram is wrong, forgive me. In the process, what I'm trying to show you is you can use Visio to do these sort of diagrams, and you can put the grid on as well if you want to be a bit more accurate with it. But it's the process I'm trying to get over to you is create your own stencil, pull things in to your stencil. So if you've created a stencil, you don't have to do what I did, drag things on there. You can just pull them down from there. So if you wanted that, for example, I can just drag that onto my stencil. My stencil opens and I just drop it in there. And then I'll have to save it again. So if, it's a quick way if you find something, you just drag it, hover, wait until the stencil draws, I'm going to call it opens, and then you can just drop it in there and then save. And that's it. So hopefully you enjoyed that, and I'll see you in the next one.